What is up, sports fans? John from Odyssey Sports coming back at you with another video. And guys, I have some big news. The New York Giants won against Dallas today. Uh, all I can say is, guys, this was a huge dub for the Giants. And even if the Giants make the playoffs or not, I think this game has huge implications for this young team. This team, like I was talking about in the previous video, they're bought into Joe Judge's plan. And a 4-12 season, a 5-11 season probably wouldn't really cut it out for Joe Judge very well. That wouldn't be a very successful first year, but Joe Judge turned this team around. And even though this is only a 2-1 improvement from last year, you can tell that this young team is bought into Joe Judge's plan and they have something to look forward to moving ahead. The Giants got a very pivotal win against Dallas, and this puts them in position to make a playoff run. But unfortunately, we need Philly to win against Washington tonight, and that's a pretty hard feat to accomplish. Philly is sitting 9 of their starters, and God, it looks like this team's tanking, or hell, maybe they're even doing this out of spite against the Giants and Dallas. But like I said, we need Philly to win against Washington. The game is at 8:20. I'll be hopping off here to go watch that soon, but I thought I'd just recap week 17 for you guys, talk about the game against Dallas, what were the keys to victory, and uh where do we go moving forward? So, anyways, guys, not to waste any more time, let's just jump right into it. So, the first thing I have to take away from this game is Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard had a phenomenal game, guys. Sterling Shepard, he had 8 receptions for 112 yards. He averaged 14 yards per catch, and he even got in the end zone twice. One of those touchdowns coming on from a end around handoff from Daniel Jones for a 23-yard run into the end zone in the first quarter. And it's always great to see the Giants score immediately off the bat on their first drive. That first drive was a very methodical and well planned out drive. Daniel Jones was spreading the ball to everybody. Evan Ingram, you got Wayne Gallman the ball, you got Caden Smith the ball, Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard. It was like Thanksgiving out there. He was sharing turkey with everybody. But Sterling Shepard had a great game. Sterling Shepard, his route running was on display. When Sterling Shepard is healthy, I think he's one of the better route runners in the league. He's a phenomenal slot receiver, and when we don't have Shepard, the offense really does struggle. And this performance today is a testament to how important and how crucial Sterling Shepard is to this offense. And it seems like Sterling Shepard is always bailing out this offense every other drive. He had some phenomenal catches, off some good throws from DJ. I'll give DJ credit, but Sterling Shepard is a great receiver, and we have to keep him moving on forward. Now, the offensive line looked pretty good. I'll give the offensive line credit. I know I'm usually pretty harsh on the offensive line, and I do understand that this is a young group and they're really just starting to get their footing. But the offensive line looked good. Andrew Thomas had an excellent game. You saw Nick Gates, who's playing well in the run game, getting Wayne Gallman some good looks up through the middle, and Nick Gates even got into it with a few Cowboys players like Jalen Smith and um, Stephon Diggs' little brother. I can't remember his name, but Nick Gates. You love to see that mentality. You love to see that toughness, especially against a division rival. So the offensive line looked well. They looked good. They looked polished, and that's always a good sign moving forward. Wayne Gallman, on the other hand, Wayne Gallman, for the most part, he did his job. He had some important runs where he was able to get across the line of scrimmage and run for a first down, and that's always important. It's always what you want. You always want your running back to come out of the gates running like a mad bull and just rushing for that first down. And Wayne did that, but on the other hand, Wayne made two very crucial mistakes. He fumbled the ball twice early on in the game in the first half. Wayne fumbled the ball when Daniel Jones was going to give him the ball for a handoff for a run up the middle, and Wayne closed his arms too early, and he did not get the ball in his stomach, and Daniel Jones put it right in his gut. I mean, there's no way you can drop this, and Wayne Gallman dropped it, and Dallas gained possession of the ball off the fumble. And another crucial mistake that Wayne Gallman made was when he fumbled in the fourth quarter with only a minute left to go in the game, and it almost put the game in jeopardy for the Giants. But we'll get into that later. Wayne Gallman, for the most part, he did his job, but he had those two mistakes, and we can't have that. Next, guys, um, the defense won us this game. We had some success on offense, and like I said in the previous video, I said that the Giants were gonna have to score at least 3 times, put up 20 points on the board for us to have a chance to beat Dallas. And the Giants fulfilled my prophecy. The Giants put up 3 touchdowns in the game today, and they had a field goal to add on to that. The Giants put up 24 points total, or 23 points total, because Graham Gano missed the extra point, which could have bite us, which could have bit us in the ass in the end, but luckily it didn't. But the Giants put up over 20 points, but really the defense saved us. The defense did a wonderful job at stopping the run when it counted and really getting to Andy Dalton the entire game. And the defense, our defense, I think they specialize in bending and not breaking. You know, Dallas made some big drives, especially in the second half when they started to gain momentum, and the defense bend and they didn't break. And I really have to credit Patrick Graham with his defensive game plan. And considering the fact that Dallas had 10 points throughout the second half is really a testament to how good Graham's defensive play calling is, and really how good the talent we have on defenses. They controlled the ball the entire second half, and they only had 10 points to show for it, which I think is incredibly impressive. And I'm very proud of this Giants defense. The pass rush was most definitely the driving force of the defense and of the game. Andy Dalton looked nervous in the pocket all day. He didn't look confident in his offensive line. He didn't look sure of himself. He didn't really go through his progressions because he didn't have time. The Giants were able to get to Andy Dalton 6 times today in the pocket. He got sacked 6 times. 3 of those sacks coming from Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams had a huge game. He had 5 QB pressures, and 2 of those sacks, 2 out of 3 of those sacks that Leonard Williams had, came up in the clutch. They came up in the fourth quarter, especially with that one sack on second and goal where Leonard Williams sacked Andy Dalton with about a minute and 15 seconds left to go, and it really put the game on ice for the Giants, in my opinion. So big props to Leonard Williams. I really think the Giants should go after this guy, re-sign him in free agency, and extend his contract because he is pivotal to this defensive line. Um, Another thing, guys, is Dallas had to settle for they had to settle for a field goal 4 times. They put up 12 points with Greg Zerline, and Greg Zerline made that insane 57-yard field goal right before the end of the half. That blew my mind. That was a great kick. Greg Zerline's a great kicker, and credit to him for making that. It's a hard kick to make, especially when you're playing in the Meadowlands. But the Giants, they held Dallas relatively well during this game. Dallas does have a high powered offense, especially with Andy Dalton at the helm. But I'm proud of the Giants for what they did. They were bending the entire game and they weren't breaking. Blake Martinez, Kyler Fackrell, and Dalvin Tomlinson also had sacks along with Leonard Williams, and that was just amazing. I love Blake Martinez, and when we blitz Blake Martinez, he seems to always get into the pocket and put pressure on the quarterback. Kyler Fackrell, when he's healthy, he's not a bad edge rusher for the Giants, and I wouldn't be disappointed if the Giants extended Kyler Fackrell as well and re-signed him in the offseason. Dalvin is another guy that has to come back. Dalvin had a monster game. He had a sack, got to Andy Dalton in the pocket along with Leonard Williams, and Dalvin, just another great defensive tackle, great interior D lineman. We got to bring Dalvin Tomlinson back as well. Um, Now the defense, we did have some hiccups on defense. I won't lie. I won't make this defense the golden child of the NFL. I won't put it on a pedestal because we did make mistakes. There were some blown coverages in the secondary that I noticed throughout the game. Um, I feel like the Dallas receivers were getting a little more separation than they should have, especially with the pressure that we had in the pocket against Andy Dalton. We had blown tackles that I noticed. I feel like Logan Ryan always has a blown tackle. I love the guy, but he does definitely make mistakes sometimes. And it all really starts with the secondaries where our problems come from. I feel like we also, I feel like we had poor communication in the secondary. Dallas, they were getting easy pickups, easy gains and first downs on short check down throws throughout the entire game. Um, and clearly Dallas likes to utilize the hurry up offense. Um, and I feel like the Giants really just have a hard time against teams that do that. Teams that don't go into the huddle. They hurry up the clock. And that just gasses the Giants defense, I feel like, all the time, especially against mobile QBs like Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Dallas, even Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton moved on the ground today, and it was hard for us to stop him. Quarterbacks that can run, I feel like, just kill us every single time. And Andy Dalton almost had a few runs that that killed us, that could have put us in a bad situation, especially that one where he faked out the cameraman when they made us think that Zeke was running on 4th and 1, but it turns out Andy Dalton had just run for a 20-yard gain without the cameraman even knowing. But the Giants also had some missed interceptions. I noticed. I think Julian Love had a missed one, but the play got called back anyways because of defensive holding. Um, James Bradbury almost had an interception, which was disappointing to see because you always love to see James Bradbury forcing turnovers. But all in all, the defense played well. We had a few hiccups here and there, but again, I'm proud of this defense. Another thing that I do want to talk about is the Dante Pettis touchdown before the end of the second or the first half, excuse me. When Dante Pettis caught that ball from Daniel Jones just threw a rocket, zipped it right into the red zone to Dante Pettis. Dante Pettis could barely hold on to the ball, but he managed to, and he got tripped up, which like at like the 3 maybe the 4 yard line, and it looked like he fell short of the end zone or maybe on the goal line, and they ended up calling it a touchdown. Um, I'll give Dallas the benefit of the doubt here. I do think Pettis caught it. He barely maintained control, I think, but I'm not so sure if that was a touchdown. It doesn't really matter because the Giants probably would have just punched it in with Wayne Gallman anyways. But the refing throughout this entire game was kind of questionable, and even that play, in my opinion, was a little bit questionable. But hey, Giants got a touchdown, so why should I be complaining? Um, another guy on offense that could have potentially hurt the game for us, besides Wayne Gallman, was Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram really killed our momentum on offense entering the second half. Dallas started out with the ball, and the Giants had momentum coming off that Dante Pettis touchdown in the second quarter. But when it came around to the third quarter, that pass that Daniel Jones had to Evan Ingram in the middle of the field was eventually dropped by Ingram, and it landed in the hands of a Dallas secondary player. Uh, Evan Ingram always seems to have he always seems to be like the problem or the cause for a turnover in a game. Daniel Jones has thrown what seems like 4 or 5 interceptions this year, solely because Evan Ingram cannot catch the ball and a secondary player would just snatch it out of the air after he dropped it. Um, and they always hit Evan Ingram in the hands. DJ is always putting these balls in perfect places, and Evan Ingram just cannot catch it. And Evan Ingram looks like unconfident in himself almost sometimes. He looks scared. He doesn't look too sure in his abilities. And the guy is a great athlete, and I really want him to get it together. He's a good tight end, but he always seems to disappoint the Giants somehow. And like I said, he killed our momentum in the second half, which almost ruined our chances of winning this game. Um, because Evan Ingram really killed our momentum, I feel like the Giants had a second half collapse. And I wouldn't put that all on Evan Ingram, actually. I feel like the Giants always have a second half collapse, especially in close games like this. You look at the Bucks game, you look at the Eagles game a few weeks ago. You look hell, I guess you could even see the Steelers game. The Giants always kill themselves in the second half. We're always our own worst enemy. And it seems like Jason Garrett's play calling throughout the second half hurt us. He had some questionable calls throughout the third quarter, and especially the fourth quarter when play calling really matters. He had that QB draw with Daniel Jones on first down heading into the fourth quarter, and DJ lost like 2 yards on that play. It just didn't make any sense to me. Some of the plays were just head scratchers in general, and I'm not too sure if Jason Garrett will be keeping his job in New York after this season. Um, Another guy I really want to talk about that had a great game on defense is Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney, in my opinion, he really made his rookie debut in this game. Let me just look it up real quick to see when like how many games McKinney has played. I think it's only a handful, 5 games. So I think he started back when we were playing Cincinnati, maybe Seattle, but he wasn't starting those games obviously. But McKinney had a great game, in my opinion. This was really McKinney's really pinnacle game, his iconic game of the season. He had that clutch interception within the final minute of the game for us, picked off Andy Dalton as he was getting pressured in the pocket, courtesy of the defensive line and the pass rush. But McKinney picked off that ball, and to go along with that interception, he had 8 tackles. McKinney just was balling out every single play, and I noticed McKinney every single play. That's how well he was playing. Um, I didn't even really notice Logan Ryan or Jabril Peppers throughout the game because Xavier McKinney was at the ball every single play, and you love to see that confidence. You love to see that hustle off a young player like that. And I really do have a good feeling about Xavier McKinney. I just hope he can stay healthy going into the future. Um, Another guy that I noticed was Julian Love. Julian Love was playing well in the secondary throughout the game. He had a lot of passes batted down. Julian Love isn't a guy, especially he's not a Giants player that you talk about normally, but in this game he impressed me. And like with Xavier McKinney, I feel good about Julian Love, and I feel like he can be a good player and an important player on this defense moving ahead. Um, Now, finally, guys, as I want to wrap up this video, but I got to talk about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had a great game. This was probably DJ's best game of the year, in my opinion, really, even though DJ had that interception, which I blame on Evan Ingram, and I think all Giants fans will agree with me. But regardless, DJ had a great game. He was making great passes, really clean, polished passes. He wasn't really making any mistakes. He didn't look afraid in the pocket. He looked like he trusted his linemen, and it looks like he could really rely on his receivers, and it's because his receivers were playing well. But I really have to give most of the credit to Daniel Jones here, although the offensive line and the receivers showed up today. Um, you can just tell the improvement in the step that Daniel Jones has taken so far. In this game, Daniel Jones is going through his progressions almost every single snap. He cleaned up the little mistakes, and for the most part, it seems like Daniel Jones has finally got over his turnover bug, minus the interception, which I said is Evan Ingram's fault. But DJ's stats on the game, not bad at all. If I just can pull them up real quick. Uh, DJ had just 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Uh, can't pull it up right now, but who cares about it? DJ had a good game regardless. He had 2 touchdowns. He had over 200 passing yards through the air. He made a couple poor throws, but what do you expect out of a second year quarterback? Daniel Jones, he did his job. He managed the game. He scored when it mattered, and he drove us down the field when it mattered. Daniel Jones is I don't want to call him a good quarterback yet, but he's taking the right steps in the right direction, and you always like to see that. And I really hope Daniel Jones can. I really hope he can pan out in this Giants offense. We'll see if Jason Garrett sticks around next year. If not, maybe it's for the better. If he stays, maybe that's for the better. We'll see. But Daniel Jones, like I said, taking steps in the right direction. You love to see a game like this from this guy. And let's just see what the future has in store for him. Um, so, anyways, guys, that's going to wrap up Giants Week 17 versus Dallas game. Again, the score was 23-19 Giants. And again, tonight, the Washington football team plays Philadelphia at 8:20. I highly recommend that you guys tune into that game. I bet it's going to be a very good game. I'm really banking on Philly to win that game. Please, Philly, give Giants fans this division. It's been 11 years almost, but I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Second video, brand new channel, working things out here, trying to catch my footing, see what works on here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Drop a comment if you want to, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. More content coming soon, and I will see you guys at the Redskins game.